Well, hi guys. Hi everyone. I don't know if you're hearing every one of us.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hello. So yeah, this is the LBA2 Remake Team. I suppose we're going to start with a quick introductions. Is there anyone who doesn't know the project yet? I suppose most of you are familiar with it, but just a quick introduction for those who are not familiar with it yet. So yeah, we've started this project like I started this on 2016, I think, quite some time ago. Yeah. And Alex joined me like almost immediately after the beginning of maybe within a month. I didn't do much things and he directly joined. And yeah, well, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, 5 years.
What?
Sorry, just replying to Rob. 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow the chat.
So the idea was when we started this is like we thought that using a web browser for making a remake of the LBA2 would be would help us be more productive because well, we were used to programming language like C++, which takes a long time to compile and well, it's more complicated than JavaScript that we use in browsers. Well, maybe I don't want to go too technical, but the idea was that if we make the game for a web browser, we would be able to program faster and make more progress than if we used our technologies. And we would also be able to release it easily and don't have people needing to download.
Yeah, that's actually something that I really love about the project. Yeah. When I entered the first time, I didn't have to install anything. I could just play it directly on the browser. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it makes things easier because when you just post a link to something that you have to download and install on your computer, it makes it less likely that you want to try it. And well, I had a call with Fred at some point at the beginning of the project, and well, I asked if we could distribute it publicly, like with the assets of the original game, and he agreed to it as long as well, it's not fully playable yet. So I guess we'll have to reconsider that when the game starts becoming fully playable, which could happen soon-ish.
No, at this rate, I think it's going to happen pretty soon because you made a lot of improvements for this new release.
Yeah. Yeah, 5 more years. So yeah,
okay, so should we start showing? And
yeah, I suppose we can start showing the game.
Okay. Well, you decide what to do.
So this is the new version. It's not live yet. I don't know where we are on that. Like we're working on preparing the release, but I don't know if we'll be doing the release because right now the version is 0.4. I'm going to share the link for those who don't know because so yeah, here's where you can play. This is currently on version 0.4, and we've been working on version 0.5, which we will be releasing either during this streaming or maybe after it. I'm not sure yet. And if there are some programmers or graphic artists among you that want to join the project, you can get in touch with us on our Slack channel, which you can find. Well, this is the GitHub for the project, but you can also get in touch with us on our Slack channel if you want to contribute. New members are always welcome.
Maybe we'll start with lobby, so you will have to speak.
Yeah, sure. So what we're going to do here is play through the game.
In Spanish?
In Spanish. Well, the voices are in English, hopefully. Are the voices enabled? I don't know if you can hear the audio from the game.
Or it's lagging quite a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's because I'm
It's because wait, he didn't change the resolution of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can do that because it's going to be very slow.
Okay, let's do that.
Maybe let's switch to channel. Sorry for the technical issues.
Looks like there's no audio.
There's no audio?
No game audio.
It was on the meter. Oh.
Okay. Let's
continue talking.
Sorry. Fix that. Well, I suppose in the meantime I can introduce the team because I didn't do that. So yeah, Alex and I started the project like 6 years ago, and then Sarah, who is here, joined and started doing some 3D models.
At the beginning, I didn't know how to model.
She didn't know how to model at the beginning, and now she just did that Rabbi Bunny that Rabbi Bunny scene that you can see here in the School of Magic. So yeah. Game audio is on.
So it's on now?
Okay, like maybe pause the game. Change the resolution of the screen so we can have decent film. That's a lot kissing. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah, Sarah was the first to join the project. And then I don't remember who joined first, if it was Scott or Peter. Scott, I think.
Scott.
Yeah.
By the month, I think.
So yeah, Scott did a lot of programming lately on the project. And a lot of.
Yeah, I joined a year ago at the previous LBA2 birthday event, which is where I saw the project. So yeah, it's been a year already.
And finally Peter joined and he's been doing some great.
Basically, I came across the same stream as Scott, but I was paying less attention, so I saw it a month late. And then I had to join the project, So I do 3D modeling, so I help out Sarah with doing some of the 3D work you'll be seeing, and you guys might know me by my Magical Network handle, bot30, if that rings anything.
Yeah, just to say that actually you guys joining like 1 year ago, you did a massive work because it did really the difference, because the progress we did in the last year is amazing compared to what we have done on the probably previous 4 years before. So definitely great to have you guys on board for that time, and hopefully with yet another streaming we can get more people to join us and to help us as well. So yeah, pretty good the progress we have done so far. Really nice.
Okay, maybe we can go back to the game. Sorry for the technical issues. That should work a bit better now.
Well,
not much. Oh.
A little bit. But still no audio because it's very, very loud.
It's very loud.
Yeah.
Can't we lower the volume of the browser in Windows? Okay, well let's play without audio, I suppose.
We'll play with audio later in VR.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is so slow.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, slow motion.
This wasn't like that. Are you sure to change the resolution of the screen?
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to General Go for a moment because this is not.
Sorry.
This is not working.
Yeah, we'll have to fix that before.
No, you can.
Sorry, guys. It looks like we still continue with some technical issues. Yeah, we'll be able to play. Hopefully, we can do the release just during the streaming or right after, so that you guys can play it anytime.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we. I don't know what's wrong.
My computer.
Or we have a pretty old computer here, and
yeah, streaming and playing at the same time is not exactly a very good idea.
If you need to, I can take over. If that's, I mean, if the problem is that you can't do it because you can't stream and play the game at the same time, I'm happy to stream if you want to. I don't mind.
Well, I suppose that would,
yeah, make things easier.
That makes things easier because the frame rate is horrible here, and I don't think we can get far with that. We did some tests a few days ago, but we didn't have that issue. So yeah, Scott, if you feel like streaming instead.
You know now, right? You have to speed run.
But they're all still here, guys. Still 22 viewers. Thank you guys for sticking around.
That's good. No one abandoned us yet.
You didn't leave us yet. Hang in there. Hang in there. Cool stuff is coming. We promise.
I'll tell me when you're ready, Scott, and I'll play it over to your channel.
Yeah, you should be good to go. I should be streaming. Yeah, I should be good to go.
Okay, let's do this then.
I think people are still coming up. Only 5 at the moment, so
Okay.
I think it has around 20 minutes, I think, for the automatic, right? So
did you actually raid? Because I don't see a raid happening on my channel.
yeah, I received a notification
I
from
don't
my
see a
side
raid
that
happening
was.
on my channel. Okay.
Yeah, I did, but
Yeah,
it
I
looks like
received a
there's still
notification
I
from
don't
my
see a
side
raid
that
happening
was.
21 people on. Yeah, I did, but
They
it looks
say
like there's
that
still
we haven't raid, so something
21
happened
people
on the raid,
yeah.
so probably need to do it again.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, yeah, now I have it raiding. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's
Now
in.
it's there.
Okay. So I mean, Adrian, you can still do the talking if you want to, and I can just drive the game.
He's on mute, so I don't know if you noticed.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So. Well, playing for the game. So what we focused on this release is having a lot of gameplay stuff happening, so we can actually play the game because that wasn't much the case in the previous versions. But now you can actually go through the game quite a bit. So let's see that.
Oh no. The first thing, you didn't even get the key. Great. Hold on.
So
Try
the
it again.
first live bug.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm going.
There we go.
You just found your magic ball. When you wear your ancestral tunic,
I think voice should be okay. Yeah, so one of the things that is the only game audio coming through, or is the...
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working the last one. Or very low.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's a little bit low.
Okay. Is that any better?
Can someone talk? That's better.
Dear me. Okay, so I'll just talk through what's going on then. So, yeah, this is the remake. One of the big things we've done is add in the inventory, which allows a whole bunch of progression in the game. We've also got the magic ball, which is new since last time.
you just
Don't have a hollow map yet, because that's a pretty big unique thing. Okay. Hold a second.
Scott, do you mind to
Okay, that should be a lot
turn
better, right?
down? Yeah. I will try here again.
Okay. So yeah, inventory is a pretty big deal. And then the other thing we've added, which is a pretty big deal,
You
is
have
all
found
the stuff
3
around projectiles and extras. So darts, for example, now work, and all of the guns, etc., which use the same model, also still work. So that's a pretty big deal. We've made a lot of changes to do with the scripting, so the game is significantly more playable basically everywhere. So we can go and sort of play this through until it breaks, which should be getting to Desert Island, getting to the School of Magic. And we can sort of talk through all of the updates as we go along. So we can go into the museum and get the tunic. And one of the things you'll notice here is that we've got actual 3D replacement models for these sprites, because in the current version it looked pretty terrible. And when you look at that in VR, those are sort of proper 3D model, which is pretty cool. And you sort of want to reach out and pull the lever, which you can't do. So now that I have the tunic and I have some magic, the magic ball sort of will bounce as you would expect it to.
Yeah, that's a big part of the project, like replacing all the models we have here, like 3D models. It's like, what you see right now is just the original isometric version of it, but we have a 3D version for the interiors. I'm gonna show later when playing in VR. You can get the tunic, which we couldn't do in the last version, and we have the inventory too, which I don't think was in the last version.
So we can play through the pharmacy scene.
Hello, miss. I'm looking for something to cure my injured dino fly.
Sorry, but I don't have anything for a dino. If you are interested in an item.
But I have an idea how you can help your friend. Thief!
And so this, now that we have the inventory, you can actually select the umbrella to give it back to Miss Amiibo. Let me just do this section.
Mr. Twinson.
You just found the customer's umbrella.
So there we go. And then we can trigger that by giving it back.
You are so kind. Go.
Doing pretty good. Let's head over and do the Trulu section.
Oh, one thing that we improved a lot, maybe you can show that, is the collisions
Yes.
in exterior scenes. Before, like when you were running against some stones, rocks, you would get stuck and it wasn't fluid. But now you can just slide along the rocks like in the original. And if you jump on the rock, you're sliding.
Yep.
That you have to beat up the chicken.
We could try doing that in VR. It's feels a
it's
lot
nicer.
worse.
Do it with your own hands.
Okay. So now that we have the magic ball implemented, we can actually progress past this section because you need the magic ball to hit the lever over here, which you couldn't do before, and so this was effectively where the game was playable up until now on version 0.4, but 0.5 we can progress significantly past this.
Hi there, Joe. Still having problems?
No thanks.
this, yeah, but now we have a magic ball, right? We should be able to have that key. Probably not, actually. Yeah, the key logic and the extras colliding on the floor is not great. Usually the magic ball will go and get it for you, but if it clips through the floor, it doesn't always work. Okay. I know what the problem is. It's because I'm pressing control during the actor's trajectory. Let me try it. Let me try it without pressing control. There we go. Is it like the pressing control is like a habit that I have from this game, just ingrained in like any time I'm doing anything, you just hit control to cancel all of the animations. But I think there's still an issue where if you press control with the extras, something doesn't line up there.
I don't know if it's clear to everyone talking about the extras that we're talking about.
Yeah, we should probably explain. So, Alex, do you want to talk about the extras?
Well, yeah, it's just a bonus that you see, like the keys, the hearts, the magic, but also the projectiles. You saw in the beginning, like the kiddo standing and then choosing all the projectiles. Later in the game they call it extras, like travel. So those are the extras.
Another thing that we fixed in this release is is the animation interpolations, which you didn't. Well, before the transition between different animations were rough and now it's a bit smoother. And then, if you can see that properly with the frame rate. You're not picking magic buttons?
No.
It's really lucky.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a little while for Ralph to decide to trigger his speech here, and I don't quite know why. He really doesn't want to trigger it today.
Or you don't actually need to trigger it first.
Oh, is it not Ralph? I thought it was Ralph. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why he's not. Yeah, there we go. So now I don't quite get what the condition is to trigger that. But okay, so now he's happy and he's going to run away.
He's definitely in shock.
Stage fright, 22 people watching.
And so the next section is quite a script-heavy section. We spent a lot of time making sure that all of the sort of scene transitions work. There's lots of stuff that happens here that's quite intricate with the scripting of the game. So we have a video that plays here, and then there's a lot of sort of on-rails stuff that happens now to get back to the lighthouse that we spent some time trying to fix up. But yeah, it should all work.
So, Twinson is a monster.
Yes, the family will soon be larger.
We're so happy,
I just bumped into the keeper who was going.
I freed him.
Bravo! And now, if you appreciate great art, let's meet at the lighthouse. You see what you'll
So you can see that even the camera bugs bring some effects.
Yeah, the fact that we have a full 3D camera, which is not what the original game was intended for, there are still some issues with that. But yeah, this is all playable all the way up to here, and this will trigger the rain to go away, the Esmas to land, and then we will be able to transition to Desert Island via the boat.
Notice some of the improvements as well on the water and stuff that's been in for a while. That's how you can tell it's the remake.
We are ready, Master.
Follow me.
One thing we didn't make improvements on is streaming.
Yeah, we should stream more often.
Next time we should.
Yeah, we are planning to show some VR stuff.
People from the
So we have 2 Twinsons and 2 Zoes.
We come to you in a spirit of peace.
We're gonna show the VR. It's just how we're going through this on the desktop for now, and we'll show the VR later. There's been some improvements on the VR side of things too.
So we can now go and buy a ferry ticket and head over to Desert Island.
When on Desert Island? Hi.
Interesting, I just noticed the sprites in the, for example, on the door, they look darker. It looks like it's from the previous island.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, maybe there's something we're missing there.
It seems that is the version of the darker. Interesting.
Yeah.
So there we go. So this triggers then the section to take us over to Desert Island, and this works. The camera angle still needs some work, and you'll note as we transition to Desert Island, it's a little bit janky, but it does transition you out to the correct place. So it's functionally at least it works. Yeah, we also have a duplicate boat there.
Dramatic view right here.
Yeah. And you can see that one of the changes we made is to have side scenes loaded as well. And in this case, you're seeing a whole bunch of actors that hadn't had their positions updated.
Or maybe I should explain the side scenes because it's not very clear. In the original, you have, like, when you're on an island, you have different scenes. That the island is split into different sections that you can go through, and only the section where you are at the moment is visible. Well, the actors are visible only in the current section. Like, for example, here you have a section with the farm, and if you're in that section, you can see the NPCs from that section. But if you move to another section, they disappear, and you only see the NPCs from the other section. But what we did on the remake was displaying all the NPCs of the whole island all at once. So this can cause a few issues here and there.
Hello, I'm looking for the
You can
healer.
interact with those walls by the stuff.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It doesn't make you jump up like 100 miles in the air anymore.
You just found a flask of gallic acid.
So we can go and get the car part from Baldino, and the interaction there works, and Zoe will call us on the radio.
Hey, I'm trying to find the School of Magic.
Hello, I never realized that there was an axe here. Here's the part that Zoe needs for your car.
And I think if you also...
Hello?
Well, Twinsen, did you find something to treat the dino fly?
No.
By the way, could you ask Baldino for the car part he promised me?
He gave it to me already. I'll bring it over to you.
Yeah, we're still missing the overlay image that shows Zoe.
Yes. And I think that actually the car part at the moment doesn't have an inventory slot, so you can't see it there. So yeah, we can go and do the School of Magic. It's very cool to be able to see the race car off in the distance. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, about the different scenes on the line. Like you only have like a section of about like 20 meters by 20 meters or something like that. The NPCs are visible. And everything is reset once you get past that section.
You can also see the transparent animations there.
Allow me to introduce the
Yeah, we didn't have transparency in the NPCs in the last version.
Welcome, Twinsen. I'd be honored to have you. Do you wish to join us?
I'd like to treat my dino fly first.
You'll obtain the power to heal by passing one of the tests of history. 120.
So I hacked in a whole bunch of money at the start, so I actually do have enough money for this.
To become a wizard, you can first pass out of each test. In any order.
Yeah. So we're now enrolled in the school, and we can do the first test here to get the blowgun. If the wizard's going to spawn for us. Doesn't look like it. It doesn't want to.
Did you read control again?
Yeah, not allowed to press control. In that case, I'll go back out to a different scene and back in again. That's cool.
Probably going to lose the inventory items now.
No, that's all stored.
Well, I guess you could also just teleport into the
Yeah, so when you stand here, he's supposed to swap and then spawn to your left. I'm surprised. There we go. Yeah, like this.
Once you pass through this door, you will have to be.
And this room surprisingly works as well. I was expecting a whole bunch of issues with this room, but well, at the moment they don't actually move, which makes it very easy to win. But yeah, you can complete this, and then we get the logo.
We actually didn't code anything specific for this. It's the original game scripting system. Well, yeah. We are writing code for making the original game scripting system work, but like we didn't do anything specific for the implementation. Using some stuff that I used in other places of the game.
It fires darts fast and accurately.
So then you get the blowgun, which also works. And that's basically where we're up to. What would happen next is you take the car parts back to the car, and then Zoe would bring the car over to Desert Island to allow you to get the flower thing. But we don't have an implementation of the car yet, so you can't drive up the side of the cliff to get the bosom flower or whatever it is, to get the the horn to heal Dino Fly.
And there's the drawing issue too when getting there.
Or okay, I guess you can just jump straight up here. But then we have the drowning issue.
It's a bit surprising, but
And I think, Adrian, your sliding logic means I can't jump up here anymore because you used to be able to. You used to be able to sort of cheat, but I don't think we can anymore.
Yeah. I suppose you can go to the Temple of Boo because you. So.
Yes, let's go and do. Let's go and do that section.
A ticket, mister, for only...
It's not enough that Twinsen can't swim in such a on so you're paying for that. Nobody pays for entering Temple of Boo.
Do you want to talk a little bit about this, Adrian?
So we're working on trains implementation. Well, more generally like jumping on stuff and getting carried by stuff. I guess this also works in sewers on Secret Island. You can jump on the wood rafts there. But yeah, the train has some specific implementation to following the waves and the switches and all that. Maybe a bit of code very important that in this version.
So there's still a few bugs we're missing here, like this door. There is something here that I don't quite understand why that's not rendered properly there.
Yeah, it's a variant of the scene.
Yeah, and then we shouldn't really be able to be here at this point in the game. Yeah, this is pretty much where we're able to get to at the moment. We can see what happens if we go back to here and give. Oh, but we can't. At this point, you can't then trigger giving Zoe the car part because you don't have that object in your inventory. So this is pretty much where we're at in terms of playability, which is a lot better than we were in 0.4.
Yeah, if you also in the editor mode, right, you can actually add inventory items and then proceed further in the gameplay.
Yeah, I can briefly
so
show that.
If you have the editor enabled, you can play around with it.
And we're only getting to the School of Magic basically in this version, but in terms of systems that the game has, I think we have way more systems implemented than in the previous version, so we actually don't have that many things left to implement for making the whole game. Well, there's going to be a lot of bug fixing after we implement all those systems, but we may not far from them.
Yeah, so we've probably got some time to actually play around here, so I can because we have access to the editor, we can add a whole bunch of stuff in. So, for example, let's grab the magic ball. So you can come in here and add in basically a whole bunch of things. So if I give myself the tunic, you can now see we have the tunic. I can also give myself, for example, the sword. Ooh, interesting, it doesn't like doing the body change there. Let me like it. So we do have implementations for the sword, which is pretty cool. Also for the laser pistol, for example, but that doesn't show up. and some of the other things. I can give myself the ooh, didn't like that for some reason.
I'm going to see the dino.
I don't quite understand what's going on there, but yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah.
I think I broke that.
Oh no, it's because I had
recently with the body selection.
Because I had the sword equipped. The other thing I can do is make it so that we've basically completed a whole bunch of things. So I save for Lighthouse Keeper. I'm on the way to the lighthouse. Okay, say that, and then I think that's probably fine if I teleport to here, back to there.
I freed Rob.
There we go, and then this will trigger the whole rest of it. And then once this is played through, we'll then be able to, I think we can try riding Dino Fly. I'm not sure that works particularly well.
Yeah, there are some issues with the sightseeing still related to the Dino Fly.
Yeah.
It spawns in different scenes.
Yeah, it's not a Moog. It's a Eurorack modular synth in the background. Cool. So now we're back to having cleaned up the rain. I think we can now go and say to Dinofly, hey, can you take us somewhere? But unfortunately, the bounding box of Dinofly is slightly too big, and so I can maybe briefly show how some of the scripting works to be able to sort of solve this. So, for example, here if we go to Dinofly, you can see that he's currently sat on like a he's waiting on an if statement on this scene var 0 equals 1. So if I force the scene var 0 to equal 1 here,
we can't see the script window because it's hidden by the.
That's a good point. Let me fix that.
Yeah, that's actually broken.
Is it?
For some reason. Yeah, it's broken for a while. We didn't bother fixing it yet.
Okay. Yeah, but I could effectively force that to be true, and then that would run the audio effectively of what's happening. I wonder if I can.
Rick is asking.
You can do it on the block.
If we could free fly the Dinofly. I think
you can probably do it in the blocky version if we change the scripting instead of text to blocks.
That shouldn't be too hard to implement.
Yeah, it's like everybody wants to write the Dinofly. We already had a conversation about this.
Would be nice in VR.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh.
Is there anything else we want to show off gameplay-wise? I don't think there is.
I think we've seen everything. I suppose there's the thing with in the sewers where you can jump on black boats.
Yeah, so I think that's similar with the
But you can't really access the sewers anyway.
So this is part of the wagon gameplay, right? Temple of Boo, being able to like jump on something and have it carry you.
And there's also 3D audio. It's still experimental.
Oh yeah, so maybe we should swap to VR then at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. then get my go. Right, so we can basically do exactly all that we've done again, but in VR. The only thing that we don't have in VR that's blocking a whole bunch of progress is the inventory, because we're trying to work out how exactly we should present the inventory in VR. But we do have the magic ball in VR, which is quite exciting that Adrian did some work on. So we should be able to play through the entire True Loose scene in VR, but you can't then get to Desert Island because you can't select a ticket in your inventory. So let's go ahead and try this. So I think that should be working. I'm playing on a Valve Index.
By the way, you can do this if you have a VR headset. You just use the. Well, it depends what headset you have, but I assume most people will have Oculus Quest headsets, and well, you just need to go to the project website with the Oculus Quest browser.
Twinson, rush to the downtown pharmacy and find a cure for Dinofly. He's
and
just
you can
crashed in the
play
garden and
either
looks
in
injured.
first person or third person. But yeah, we can play in first person more. It can make some people a bit motion sick.
Peter, do you want to talk about what?
Yeah. So some improvements here on some of the 3D objects. Just some textures added and things like lamps. You see the cabinets here being included. So just some, and there's some stacks of books. Just an ongoing improvements. These were always here, but they look a bit more true to the original. So, and also, to just remind, as a reminder, you can actually see the 3D stuff in the
Yeah, so now we can pick up
Just found your
the magic ball.
When you wear your ancestral tunic, you'll be able
And
to
then
bounce it at your enemies.
we have a magic ball in VR, which is very, very cool.
You just found your hollow map.
So yeah, we should be able to play through this exact same sequence of events, but doing so in VR.
So the magic ball in VR is actually
you
control it with the hand completely, like you have to do the gesture of throwing it.
If we go and get the tunic, we can also get the bouncing. We can also show off the 3D levers that I mentioned earlier. So
maybe try to turn your head more and use less of the control stick for turning, because.
So for example, here you can see that this is like a full 3D console, which is very cool. If I go into normal mode and press that, you can see that it actually triggers the state. The same for the lever. I think the only thing that I want to do now is sort of like reach out and pull this, but obviously you can't sort of do that. You're just triggering the normal mode action like that, and it then just flips. Or apparently not in this case.
You have to look a bit to the right.
Yeah.
A bit to the right for it to work. This one.
And then I have to run to get the tunic.
You have just found your ancestral tunic and Sendel's medallion. By storing magic, it will enable you to bounce your ball at your enemy.
Yeah, so now we have the magic ball will bounce, which is very cool.
Hello, Miss Bloop.
Thank you for releasing the door, Twinsen. Use your tunic with wisdom. By the way.
So yeah, let's go and redo the Trilu section with the magic ball in VR. And here is Ralph. Okay, let's go and save him again.
Yeah, there's more 3D options there as well. If you guys want.
There we go.
Yeah, some work by Sarah there on 3D replacement. So you'll see that there's a bunch of stuff not replaced, but there's also a bunch of stuff that received actual 3D replacements, like these cool candles right here. And you know, it provides detail that was just not in the original, not up to this level. And also it holds up from all angles, right? As the metric version would just not hold up. So that's an ongoing thing. Right.
I love the ladders you're watching in the last version.
Not sure. I think they were.
I think they were.
There we go. It's interesting because this implementation allows us to have like throwing angles of the magic ball that the original game wouldn't have allowed you to do.
Hi there, Joe. Still having problems with your magical powers?
No thanks. Seems to be okay now.
You could never hurt Jody Elf like this. This is.
So now I've got to be careful not to punch my desk.
That reminds me that you were supposed to go punch the kid.
Yeah, I can do that on the way back. Yeah, we also have the magic ball will collect any keys like they do in the original game. So if I just throw it like that, it goes and grabs the key for you. There we go. So this guy's surprisingly intimidating in VR. Like, he's quite big.
Yeah, that's surprising. Oh, you can actually cheat, you don't have to get close to it, you can kill him from the wall, which I don't know how they're gonna do.
Yeah, I feel like that's cheating.
I kind of feel like you should not see him, and when you enter the arena, he should spawn from the top or something, like fall in the round level.
Yeah, in the original game they have a camera angle that means you can't see him until you drop down. Okay, let's go and save Ralph.
Thank you, Mr. Twinson. I was rehearsing a new tune when this filthy twirloo chewed up my guitar. Besides, it looks like he's got others. Back to the lighthouse. Otherwise, I'll get in hot water.
So yeah, Ralph will run down. Can also maybe talk a little bit about like on rails movement in VR, right? So this is again going to be the scripted action we just saw, but it's strange because
I'm counting on
you're basically taking over control of a player, and in VR that's a bit weird.
In the underground instead. It's beyond your control. You have to play the hero.
All right, Zoe. I'll take you back.
Yeah, so this is not me moving then. And then that's the video playing. And then this scene is a bit weird because they swapped the body of the actor to be Twinson and Zoe, and obviously you can't see her because you are that actor. And it's quite a bit of a weird experience, like being moved like this. So maybe need to think about like comfort and sickness in VR and how that would work. But
so Twinson, this old monster coming soon?
Yes, the family will soon be larger.
We're so happy, you know. It's our first, and it should come any time now.
And also here is like, if I look over here, you can see all of the actors that haven't yet resolved their scripting commands. So these guys on the left are only loaded in chapter 4. But yeah. Cool. So now we can do the lighthouse section again, and then that will be how playable it is because we won't be able to trigger the boat ride this time round.
And I'm not sure how we should deal with Zoe, like when you're working with Zoe, because
yeah, it is. You can tell because the movement speed's reduced, right? So it's matched with the, because when you're with Zoe, you walk a lot slower. But obviously you can't see her because it's a single like body. I guess I could just, yeah. And we allow you to swap back to sporty mode, but in the original game they don't let you do that. And trigger that.
We are ready, Master.
Follow me.
Yeah, and then this is slightly strange. Zoe's got a bit of a moustache there. But yeah.
People from the planet Twin Sun, we come to you in a spirit of peace. Thank you for dispersing the storm which prevented us from landing. We have observed your planet for many cycles now, and have decided to come and study your culture on the spot. We have traveled through space solely with the goal of discovering your civilization.
So yeah, that's pretty much as far as we can get at the moment.
Take a ride in the bike.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've never tried that before. I'm just sort of worried that's not going to work. Let's go and see what he does. Also, do we even have the option to be able to select menu items?
That alien jalopy's easy on the eyes, but it looks difficult to park. So,
Oh, we do.
for 8 caches, where do I drop you?
Okay, let's go to the lighthouse.
Hang on.
Oh wow, look. Okay, this is very strange. That wasn't too bad. I'll take that, that's good.
Not the Vespa experience, but yeah.
Cool. Do we want to do Emerald Moon? Should we swap to there?
Yeah.
And can I get into that one? Can't I?
Maybe we can do Emerald Moon, and then afterwards we can do a little tour around the Desert Island areas.
Yeah. Okay.
It's also new for sure.
Sounds good. Cool. Who wants to talk about this then?
There's some new layouts here of new replacement objects that I've been working on. It would be nice to be able to grab them with your hand.
And if I remember correctly, there's a clover box here, isn't there? Yes, there is. Whoa, okay. Ooh. Yeah, so the bounding box of the beds doesn't allow you to throw that through there. That would be very cool if it did.
In the next version, maybe. Or the one after the next.
Interesting. There we go. Oh, this guy's also going for it.
Yeah, we didn't touch the scripts. The scripts are the same thing.
So this is something very cool that Adrian and Sarah worked on, which is this thing, whatever this thing was supposed to be in the original game.
There's the moon reactor, right?
Maybe you can look at it closer. I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Fair bit.
It doesn't show on screen, but this is pretty big, so.
See, that's pretty cool. Actually, I wonder if... what happens at this point with this door? Yeah, so now that door is open. I wonder if Baldino's in here or not. Yes, there he is. Okay, so we wanted to go and have a look at some of the Desert Island sets, right, Peter? Is there any sort of particular room that you wanted me to have a look at?
I think there's a cool sort of cafe near the beach. Is that called Ludo's Cafe?
Yeah. This one.
I think Baldino's house looks pretty nice too.
Oh, we could visit Baldino as well.
Yeah, basically all the buildings in town.
Hello.
Hey, welcome. These Esmer visitors are extraordinary. They are supposed to come from the Emerald Moon. Would you believe that?
Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the items that you did, Peter?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, it's basically these interiors are built using sets, right? And these sets are basically different objects that are used to construct the scenes. So we replace an object, for instance, this entrance right here. The entrance would be replaced basically everywhere. You have props here, tables, kind of so yeah, so it's already, you replace it once and then it sort of repeats. Good. And then you'll see that some of the it's way higher in resolution than some of the original. Which is, that's fine. We get there in the end. And there's just some ongoing work still on, for instance, the back sides walls. You have the four walls, for example, and we're still tweaking that. That was all not visible in the original.
Yeah, because in the original you always see things from the same angle, and we don't have a solution yet for replacing the back sides.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's yeah. So that's but then that's what you see right now, because you can now finally walk around in these. That's pretty cool. What did you say? Baldinos, yes. Yeah, so same thing here. You'll have an actual 3D ladder, which it's pretty cool to walk around in VR and that.
It feels the whole world feels pretty different in VR than it does.
Indeed. So and there's the big telescope, but you can't look through it yet. So maybe we'll do something fun with that one day.
Maybe we could show the editor quickly after.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you were going to show the editor. Back to.
So maybe it's the time that we're.
Fucking hell.
Improve, like Peter was saying, for example, adding textures and improving the models that we're creating initially and so on. So it's quite a lot of 3D to do. And there's only two of them doing it, so any help is welcome.
Cool.
There's a lot of work.
We currently have Alexander trying out 3D to help. You guys have to save this man. This is hell. You're doing great, Alexander. Just kidding.
What do you want me to show off? The ISO grid editor or the layout editor?
Yeah, the ISO grid editor.
Also, I have no idea about. I haven't looked at any of it, so somebody else is going to have to explain what.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Maybe you can move the our faces to the bottom right corner, because we can't see much.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I suppose what you can do is probably even add an object anywhere. Like, I can't see it properly.
Do I have to apply? Do I have to add that from like an existing layout, or how do I?
Yeah, you have to add that from an existing layout. It's in the bottom of the screen. You have a button.
In the bottom?
Yeah, I will add 3D model.
Yeah, add 3D model.
Oh, I see. Okay. I can just add like. Oh, I see. Yeah. some spikes in Twinson's house. Nice.
There's a search box.
Probably the worst item you could have dropped there.
And you can delete it.
Okay, nice.
And you can also hide stuff from the original. Like if you want to remove a chair, for example, you press on it. But it only works if you're. What we are showing here is the replacement objects, but you can click on the bottom corner, bottom right corner. There's a button for showing the originals instead of the replacements.
Yes.
So maybe you can enable that, and then you can press the different bricks of the chair, and you press H for hiding.
Okay.
And then you move up one brick, and you hide the one on top of that.
Nice. Well, and then you'd insert the 3D model. I'm guessing is. Yeah. Okay.
You can dig a hole in the floor or stuff like that. Yeah. And then you have a button for highlighting which bricks have been replaced. And
yeah, that's pretty useful. It lets you see quickly which layers are replaced and which not.
And you can rotate this. I think
with the T. Well, you have a thing there, like when you select a 3D model, it says toggle rotation at bottom here.
Yeah.
The stuff in red are the stuff that are automatically replaced by 3D models.
Okay.
And the stuff in green are like tiles that are hidden.
Nice.
So yeah, that's basically the editor.
Thanks to this, I could fix lots of layers that were broken because of the perspective. There is some perspective of the camera in the interior. There were some layers that weren't there. Like for example, the windows in the Emerald Moon, they were all cut because they were showing one side, like the end of it, but not the beginning. There was a hole there. So I basically used this tool for removing those and setting the whole window there. It's actually very useful.
This tool is also incredibly useful if there's sometimes objects constructed out of a lot of tiny separate objects, and we can just hide them and put a single one next.
Put the object there.
Yeah.
Saves lots of headaches. Adri also implemented the free camera in here.
If you press C, you can have the free camera.
Okay, yeah.
Makes it easier picking some layers, but it's difficult to get this type of perspective. Actually, I find that the gizmo is more useful. Yeah.
This is a good demonstration on why we replace these layouts. I think you just showed, Scott, especially from the back side. You toggle it on and off, and it's very clear what is ours. And we're trying to stay true to the original where we can. So hopefully not too much visual difference, just a bit of enhancements where we can.
Okay. Do we want to move on to LBA1, Alex? Do you want to stream that?
Yeah. Or do you want to carry on? Just so like people move into the other.
I guess we can do that.
Yeah, maybe I can talk in the... Yeah, so actually, there's more, right? And that it is LBA1. It's kind of a lot of work involved on getting the previous version, right, which was targeted only for the version 2 to actually work on the version 1. Since LBA2 was made on top of the first, it actually wasn't that bad, even though we had to refactor a lot of our code. So you actually have on the options menu now, you can toggle between either the LBA1 and LBA2. And the good thing is that you basically get everything that we have built for LBA2 as well. So here it is. The background is actually a fake one, like an extension, a bad version of the original. Hopefully we can change that eventually. But as you can see, it's just LBA1 working as pretty close to the original as well. And we take leverage of everything that we built, like the projectiles, the inventory menu, all the gameplay.
It's basically the same engine as LBA2. It's just we like retrofitted it for LBA1.
Yeah, there's some differences in the scripting as well. That either one or the newest commands in LBA2 or others in the LBA1. They're different, but there's a lot of code I think that is shared, which is great. We actually don't know how far we can get on this one because just before the streaming, we unblocked some initial key parts of the gameplay. So we actually don't know how far we can get, but I believe we can go pretty far actually.
Let's find out.
LBA2, yeah, LBA2 had a lot of kind of gameplay specific implementations that we don't have that much on LBA1. So
I guess we don't have that cutaway implemented, right? When I go into this room, you expect to be able to see what you're doing in here.
Yeah, the grid fragments are not done yet.
Maybe I can just, there we go, just go with your ID card and the whole map upgrades.
Yeah, and I think it's actually better if you try to get the nurse suite.
Yeah, that's around the back, isn't it?
Yeah, because otherwise there's some...
the level layer looks like without...
Yeah. So what takes more time, actually, coding or modeling? Well, I will say modeling, I guess. There's a lot of effort, actually, the guys have done on trying to model that. I tried myself like 2 weeks ago, and insanely hard. Because as you can see, we can also turn the LBA1 into 3D as well. But of course, the guys are focusing on LBA2 only now. So again, if anyone is interested to help on LBA1, that will be a great help.
Yeah. So to add to that, I would say, there's challenges in both. There's just a lot of manual work involved with the 3D stuff, and there's a lot of way more brilliant minds than me at play in trying to code this thing together, which is it's just that's a matter of just a lot of thinking and how to approach this, and there's a bit more straightforwardness to the modeling, but it's a lot of work. So if there's anybody watching this who is interested, it's a pretty good thing to do as a side project, really, because if you just replace one or two things, it could be not a huge venture, huge commitment per se. That said, the team that we're currently here we're working on, I would say, multiple hours a week or something. This team is insane. Everybody gives so much commitment. So, anyways.
But yeah, we would really need some help on LBA1 because Peter and Sarah are busy making the objects for LBA2 and we have nobody for LBA1. So if anyone knows some modeling, that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
The part before where you have to walk under the roof, it actually plays much better in VR. You have to run for it now.
Yeah, so there's something here that I don't know if you noticed, but you can actually see the grids attached and the scenes attached. It's still not the best implementation yet, but actually after we can show it the full scene in the editor. But we try to recreate actually the island, gluing all the chunks together. There's still some loading that is happening, but hopefully in future we can fix together as loading like we do on LBA2 the scenes around, so you can see the actors and the characters playing around. Holomat is still far away to go.
The reasoning for LBA1, I guess, is that Alex prefers LBA1 than LBA2.
That's it.
Now that there's a lot of drama between both games, so it's not, and stuff that we improve for LBA1 have an impact on LBA2. So it's not like we're not completely working on one game or the others. We're working on both at the same time.
Yeah, the idea was there for quite a long time, but we noticed that it was starting to get harder in our code base to do that change because we were increasing loads of functionality, the 3D replacement, and all of that specific for LBA2. And then after, the idea was actually on the previous event to have this up and running, but we end up actually noticing that our code was not ready for it. And some work was already done at the time of the event, but not finished. So we decided, yeah, it's just better to do it now because the more we wait, the harder it gets. So yeah, and yeah, I'm happy that I've done that back at the time because now it will be even harder with the amount, for example, of the gameplay that happened and that was added lately. So. And now it's even easier. Like we do one gameplay from one game and the other just gets for free. So last night at 3 AM I was still fixing loads of issues after this scene. Yeah, some weird random issues, but I hope now this can actually work out. There's still some dodgy issues, but
to add to your story, Alex, I don't think even the original games had this shared code base at the same time. So this is pretty unique, really, improving things in one and getting them for free in the other, and just having them in the same place. That's pretty unique too. You know, you can just play this in your browser and switch between one and two, which is pretty radical considering we're talking about two full-fledged games. So it's not fully playable, of course, but the beginnings are there, which is really inspiring, I think.
Yeah, on the original, the team, what they did was just copying the code base and then deleted or improved everything on top of it, right? Removing anything that was not necessary for LBA2. So they actually didn't make it both games compatible on the same engine.
I'm pretty sure I remember the magic ball being in that cabinet. I haven't played LBA1 for for a long time. Where's the magic ball? It is in a cabinet.
It is. You just need the scene to be triggered.
Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty sure hiding there they won't see me, right? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, okay.
Isn't just New York the sequence is happening slower than the original?
Yeah, I don't know why. On mine, it looked okay. Looks like for some reason on Scott machines, things are a little bit slower. The same with the RAF. I didn't have any issues with RAF on my side.
Okay, yeah, now I get the magic ball. And the tunic. Great. Okay, am I supposed to go out of the chimney?
Yeah, you go to the chimney, yeah. Another bug that was fixed moments ago.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, the sprites are still they're still not okay for some of them, not all of it. Hopefully we can fix them.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm just going to abuse the bug that pressing control makes the things not work properly.
Yeah, actually the actor didn't detect it because we haven't implemented that scripting command, which is actually the clone view.
Yes, that's something we should do.
Yeah, it's actually an important feature that is probably used more in LBA1 than 2, and then will help a lot.
Oh, so I bet we can't do this puzzle though, right? Because you have to push the crates. Can we push things yet?
No, that's true. Forget about that. Yeah, that's so you get stuck on that one. We can't push.
I think also we need to adjust the height of the magic ball because, right, if I'm stood here, no, I am. But in some cases, it sort of goes straight over their heads.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually funny because we are using the height from the animation actions that are coming from the original game, but for some reason maybe the conversion that we're making from the original into the 3D, there's some differences. Yeah, but there you can see that you definitely get stuck.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the next thing we need to unblock. Or else you just need to, you're not running on the editor mode, otherwise you could just give yourself a ticket and then
It's still pretty cool to be able to get this far, to be honest, in the same engine. Yeah, I think the magic ball potentially is overpowered. I'm not sure we have the correct values of the strength in there. Yeah.
It was supposed to.
Maybe we have the same values for both games.
It could be, yeah.
LBA1 and LBA2.
True, there could be some differences because we had a lot of these issues initially when we started to make the game. There's differences in angles and strengths and things like this. So yeah, it's possible. I think we are even starting the game with more life than it's supposed to. So you actually, even if the global hits you on the prison, you don't die. So it needs more shots than just one.
Not going particularly well.
I will need a sword.
I'm also like complete. Oh, okay, I'll take that.
You need for the
I also don't. Oh, yeah, I also don't have the horn of whatever to break the seal, do I?
Yeah.
Whoa. ISO collision there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Anything else interesting to look at in LBA1?
Well, there's the VR version.
Okay.
You can change now probably just the editor quickly.
Yep.
To show the island. I think it would be cool to see that.
As in the ISO grid editor?
Yeah, just on new gameplay. And you can actually go to gameplay.
Okay, yeah.
And you just go on the outside. Citadel can be... Yeah. Now you need to enable the 3D. The visual 3D.
Okay, yeah.
I think it will be easier because of the camera.
I want to do this.
Yeah, so if you put the full camera now, you can see that you have the whole island actually. We can see yet the actors on every little scene, but we glue them together, and hopefully we can do that the same with the other islands. I think pretty simple island. There's a lot of gaps, so we will need to be creative there to make that work. But this was just experimental, just to see how we could do it, and yeah, it works pretty okay.
Yeah, okay, we can jump to VR.
Yeah.
I want ISO, I want that, I don't want that one.
So the same way that we built VR for LBA2, we just get it for free on LBA1 as well, so which is great. Unfortunately, here we cannot select the teleport yet. So you actually have to play from the beginning.
Yeah, the thing I've realized is that I don't have my local changes because I'm using auto push, so my controllers aren't going to be able to do half of the things that they're supposed to be able to do.
Okay.
So I don't think I can actually progress past here because I need to be able to jump to trigger the...
Yeah, you need the behavior.
Yeah.
change. Yeah.
Oh no, there we go. Okay, athletic, fine. Okay, that's one button I do have, but but the problem is I can't go back, right? So I'm only allowed to increase the behavior, I can't decrease it, so now I'm permanently in discrete mode.
Stop squirming, prisoner Twinson.
So yeah, you can't hit now.
No. Let me... Oh, okay. Yeah, but I won't be able to kill anybody, will I?
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to fix that very easily, actually.
If you want, I can try to. Do you want me to try here?
I'm not sure if it
Yeah, I think you might have to because I don't have I don't have any of the HQR files for my local instance, so I can't run it locally.
Hey, Adrian, were you saying something?
Well, I could try to stream it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You have... give me a second.
Yeah, you actually need to get it quite a lot of times from the group.
Yeah.
So we need to adjust the lights there. And that would be great actually to have this scene completely in 3D because those weird sprites will look really great. You can actually you can see that actually the bench was replaced because it's the same from LBA2, so we just use the same 3D model.
I think honestly that for me that's the funniest thing is seeing the overlap between LBA1 and LBA2 content. I never realized that there is some shared content.
It is, yeah. Yeah, there's actually some. There's not much because, yeah, they did a little bit more emphasis on the 3D side of it. But yeah, there's definitely some layouts there. They're shared or very, very close, like from the original.
Okay, am I raiding somebody?
I think we'll be Adrian. We're just waiting for him.
No, I don't think we can do this actually because there will be an issue with all the guests here. So.
Maybe instead we could do a little Q&A perhaps for the viewers.
Yeah,
if there's any questions.
Yeah.
Any of the stuff that we've shown or any questions about joining the project or how you can contribute. Maybe one thing that we can already say is we're always on the lookout for testers. As you can see, there's a lot of bugs that can be introduced in a project like this. So if you're watching and you're like, for you specifically to check out this project and see which bugs were introduced when.
Yeah, we don't have any testers now, so it would be actually pretty nice to have some people like regularly testing things, and because we make some changes all the time, and sometimes we break things and we don't realize it at the time. It takes sometimes like weeks before, even months before we notice that we broke something, and it would help a lot to actually know soon after when we break something because it's easier to fix. So yeah, testers.
Yeah, those are actually really nice scenes to look at here. You can see the monsters.
Everybody says that they want to ride the dino, but I want to ride those monsters.
The gas monsters.
The gas monsters, yeah. The flying eel and stuff.
That would be
Or
fun
the
too.
blue dragon.
I want to be riding the Robbie bunny that you made.
Actually, one thing I did want to try was I realized that you can go to like the protection spell cave. Sort of works. I wanted to see what would happen if I tried to use it.
Yeah, I think there's actually a specific command for that we haven't implemented yet. I don't think it will work.
Protective spell.
Yeah, no. I'm not even sure it's a selectable item actually.
Yeah.
And these things I think don't work either. Yeah. Ooh, oh, okay, they definitely do. They never used to work. The other quite nice thing is you can jetpack straight across here. All the way to Desert Island.
Cheers!
Okay. Do we have anything else we want to show, or anything else we want to mention?
Perhaps a quick clip through the editor for who hasn't seen that yet. So this project has an actual sort of editor side as well for showing models, layouts, all sorts of things really.
Yeah, actually the model editor is still a viewer. Was in haste with LBA1 as well.
Yeah, let's try that with LBA1. Yeah. Cool.
I haven't even seen it yet. Cool.
That's another thing that we could need help on is naming those things here.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, the metadata is really lacking for LBA1.
Yeah, so the process there is basically those items were assigned default names, but they're not very descriptive, so people need to go in and describe what they're seeing. So this would be called a garbage truck instead of whatever it's called right now.
Entity 10.
Entity 10, well, we wouldn't really know what an Entity 10 is unless somebody goes in and calls that a garbage truck. So, but it's basic work, but it's super valuable.
Yeah, safe.
You guys want to, since we are waiting, do you guys want to play a little bit more in VR? Either LBA1 or while we're waiting for the next stream?
Yeah, we can
I
go
don't
back
know,
to
it's actually, I think, is Jeziak the next one?
I can pull up my very fun hacked one with a whole bunch of guns.
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
If any viewers want to leave, now's your chance. Your dreams of LBA will be gone after you see what Scott has been doing.
Let's check this is the... So yeah, this is the build I used for that video that I did on Facebook a while back, or like last week. So if you go into aggressive mode, you effectively get the the 2 guns that are on in the hotel in Otringle, and then you can shoot them. And this also works in VR, so if I reload this and swap this over to be the VR stream and run this in VR. Check that that's all good. Yeah, so when I go into aggressive mode here, I also get these, and I've hooked up the right trigger on the controller to shoot these, so you can effectively walk around and just shoot a whole bunch of people, which is very fun. Really, looks like it doesn't quite like that one. It's got lost. I'd like it to sort of attach to your hand, so you can like hold them and point them. But I actually don't know where the hell they've gone now. But at the moment they're sort of like anchored. They're anchored to your body. But yeah, it's quite fun. So I should actually be able to teleport to... Let me go and get the magic ball first.
Rush to the downtown pharmacy and find a cure for Dino Fly. He's just crashed in the garden and looks injured.
Dual automatic rifles.
Normal mode there. I already... no, I don't think I have a magic ball change hooked in actually, which I might not be able to progress past the switch to get to the door. Hold on, let me see. That was a bad idea. Yeah, it definitely makes the game substantially easier. It might be that the projectiles of the gun make it through and hit the switch. We'll see. No, it doesn't look like it.
Not too bad.
I'm not sure if those are, if it even does collisions with sprite actors, which is what that is. That's a shame.
We need a no-clip hack one day.
Yeah, we do actually. You used to be able to cheat by jumping up here, because the ISO collision is, yeah, the ISO collision is a little bit dodgy still. Let's see if it's still...
Really?
Yeah.
Came in, fix it,
yeah, you
now
can.
You're stuck. Yeah.
But then a whole bunch of stuff doesn't trigger because various things haven't been set up properly. But yeah. But it's quite fun to play around with the engine like this. I guess we could do Dome of the Slate if people haven't seen that before.
We do have the invisible walls structure, but
no.
Yeah, they are. Seems like there are some of them missing in here.
Oh yeah, invisible walls, yeah, we have a bit of an issue in invisible walls. Let me just try that again. It didn't look quite like the Dome of the Slate. Nope, somebody's broken that. Let me... let's go to Desert Island. Although my tracking setup is slightly
Cheater!
No.
That's it, I suppose. I think we have Jan Jasik going live right now if we do want to have that handover.
Yeah.
No other questions by people, that is.
Yeah.
We're going to do the right.
Yep.
Cool. Well,
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching us. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Thanks
If
for
you had
watching,
any
guys.
questions, fire to us.
Thank you, Mena.
Didn't play the final game either.
Yeah,
We're trying our best.
I can't wait to play it in VR. Like,
Be sure to check out this game after we release the new version. You could just play that on LBA2 Remake .NET in your.
Oh.
There's the
And we are going to release it soon.